So what is up, guys? I'm filming a commentary video. Long time no see. Today we're gonna be talking about moms regretting their kids. Even though I'm not like a mom myself, I feel like this would be an interesting topic because more and more people are like talking about their regrets in parenthood, especially motherhood. So I feel like it might be interesting to touch up on, maybe shed some light on it. Hopefully. If you're new, subscribe, like this video, comment, check out my other videos if you haven't already, check out my shorts, check out all my socials, they're linked down below. Also check out my podcast, Brave of Mine, on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast, and turn your post notifications because I do try to post at least once a week. That is the thing I'm shooting for every time. With people becoming more and more open on social media, it shows the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of life, which is great. It's supposed to show more of a relatable side to the internet because, as all of us know, a lot of us like who grew up on the internet, a lot of people would just kind of fake the funk and act like everything is perfect when in reality it's not. So whenever people started like posting more relatable content, I'll say, it became kind of like a fresh breath of fresh air because you don't see that a lot. I feel like a lot more people are doing that now versus like what, 10 years ago, because it's kind of like the thing to do, and that's how you kind of like start having an audience because of that, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm talking like, I don't even know. Being authentic is how you keep your audience. If you want to be a content creator, it makes sense. If you want to find your audience, you must be as authentic as possible. Most of us were happy because people were finally showing the real struggles of being human instead of acting like a bot and acting like everything is peaches and rainbows all the time. So in this video, I'll be deep diving, or trying to deep dive, in and analyzing why moms feel this way. There's gonna be clips shown of people talking about their struggles, and I also want to do something a little bit different in this video and look up Reddit posts, because there is a Reddit forum called Regretful Parents where people like talk about their regrets in parenthood, and I feel like that just kind of opens another gate to this. And I was kind of like skimming through them the other day, and they're honestly kind of interesting. So I will probably add that in there, and maybe like in the future, if it aligns with the topic, I will probably add some threads from Reddit, because it is very interesting and I've been kind of on Reddit a lot lately. So it's just, I don't know, it's a place where you can be I feel more authentic than any other app. Moms on social media have chosen to be more authentic to break the barriers of being considered the perfect mom. I know y'all have seen so many of the perfect moms. They're all over the internet still to this day, and there's nothing wrong with it, but personally, if I was a mom, I would want to see more real people personally. And if I don't see it enough, like, I'll make it myself, you know. I'm not really on the side of the internet where there's a lot of moms, because like I stated before, I'm not a mom myself, and maybe if there is a mom that comments on here, y'all can show me or teach me things about motherhood that I didn't know about, you know. So they did this by showing a more raw, unfiltered parenting, burnouts, and even sometimes rage. I've seen so many rage videos on the internet about moms, mostly like the majority of the time, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to like, you know, categorize, but a lot of the times they'll be like moms that have autistic children, and which I'm glad that moms are talking about it, because I feel like a lot, I feel like if you have a child with autism, I feel like it's so, it could be super isolating, especially if you don't know anyone that has it. And I remember seeing like videos of moms screaming and crying because the kids got into something. That could be a totally different situation. Like, you can give a kid what, less than a minute, and they'll tear up the whole house if you let them, because it's very easy to lose track of them if you're not the type of person that's really like keeping your eye on them, you know. It's the side I would see a lot, and there are some moms that I would kind of like watch that had kids with autism, and it would be kind of fascinating to me to watch it, because I don't really know much about it. Like, I have a cousin with autism, but he is on the milder spectrum, so it's like you don't even really know that he has it unless you straight up asked, I guess. Like, to the outside world, I don't feel like you could tell that he has autism because there's spectrums to it, you know what I mean? There is the non-verbal, the ones that can't really like take care of themselves, and then there's also the ones that are a little bit more self-sufficient. It really depends on the parent, if they are the type of person that are going to like put in the work so they make sure that they're self-sufficient. It's great. There's so many like different niches, I'll say. So that's the cool part about it. Some people, when it comes like the comments, when they show like that side, I feel like when it comes to the child-free people, they're not so forgiving. I'm not really sure why they're not forgiving, but it's okay to be frustrated with, you know, motherhood, but don't take it out on the kid, you know, because it's more traumatizing. I feel like if you bottle up those feelings and you don't have a healthy outlet, that's where it gets kind of messy, in my opinion, because you're not letting it out. So sometimes people feel like the only way to get it out is the internet.
I love my kids, but I absolutely do not enjoy motherhood. From the age of 15 to now, I have never had a time to have a break. I am always responsible to do everything. The kids' fathers, they help when they want to help. But if it's not convenient for them, then it's left on me. I told my kid's father that I was mentally going through it. This nigga gonna say, oh, well, that's your fault. He leaves the kids off on me whenever he wants to. Whenever he can't find a babysitter, he leaves them off on me. And then he sits over there and he blames me. It's always my fault when he can't find a babysitter. So I'm always taking an L when it comes to jobs, just about anything. My life does not matter. My schedule doesn't matter to him at all. If you truly do not want kids and a man wants kids, don't do it. Because then at some point you're going to really regret it. We're not going to say you're going to hate your kids. But if you're not ready for all the responsibility that comes with being a mom, and just in case he leave you alone, do not have any kids. I am so stressed out, as you guys can see. Look at my eyes. This shit is not fun.
It's just easier to just grab your phone and be like, hey guys, this is what's been going on. This is what's been going on with me and my kid, this, that, and the third. And it's cool because, you know, you get to see people's life, and some people really enjoy doing that. Me personally, I don't really care that much now because I'm just like, I'm not like, as I used to be very parasocial to people that I like boy bands and all that stuff, but I feel like it's very much toned down over the years because I can tell that I can get really unhealthy really quickly, and I don't think people like understand how unhealthy you can get, you know, like with Alyssa Liu or whatever her name is. People got really parasocial with her very quickly. I don't know why, what the hype about her was, but all of a sudden everyone was like, I'm obsessed with her, this and the third, which is cool and all. It's cool, but personally it's just not healthy to be that obsessed with someone that you don't know. So it's always good to have like clear, healthy boundaries when it comes to that. I've heard that motherhood can be very isolating, in my opinion. I don't know much about it, but from just what my mom has told me and just the little things I hear about from other people, I'm always like, damn, like it really does take a village to raise a child. Normal to want a village, and I feel like if you don't have that support system, then it makes parenting really hard, especially if you're like a single mom. Like there's this girl in my class that was asking yesterday about co-parenting. She was asking about like, if you have a parent that's strict and you have like a fun parent, I was trying to understand it, but and you spent more time with the fun parent, will you get along with the strict parent or whatever? And basically he said his thoughts, whatever that was. Obviously I think he said like, obviously you're not gonna have, if you're not around your dad that much, it's gonna obviously cause some strain because you don't really know him in that level. But what his wrongdoing has nothing to do with you. If he does not want to spend time with you, like, a lot of people like to think that it's their fault, but technically it's never your fault. Whenever that happens, it's technically, like, you're not supposed to, as a child, you're not supposed to chase your parent down to spend time with them. They're supposed to be already having that put in place, so they have set that like expectation and standard, so you don't end up chasing the wrong dude and having them as your parenting. I don't know how to explain it. Like y'all have a family yourself, and then you don't want to repeat the cycles, is what I'm trying to say, because it's very easy to if you're not healed, you know. And especially since there's a lot of people that create kids in broken homes, it makes things very complicated. Very important to have a village. Like, the thing is, like, the more people the better, because I heard that once people have kids, which I hear about this a lot, I just heard about this morning, the second that you have the kid, it's crickets. People stop hanging out with you. But that's probably because they have different not expectations, but like, they're probably not available or don't understand, you know. I'm not trying to excuse it, but I'm just like, it is kind of effed up that if you were there the pregnancy and then you ghost when the baby arrives, that's kind of effed up, you know. But having a kid does change everything. Like, it really does. I see it in like real time with some like young couples that I see on social media, and I'm like, wow, this is moving really fast. Like, y'all just met and y'all are having a kid. The ones that I don't understand is that, like, they'll hunch, have a kid, and then they'll not be together, and so it's like awkward, in my opinion. And then they won't even show up at the birth, so it's like, I don't get that, you know. Other factor is they aren't fond of the act of being a mom. They miss their older selves, and I think it's because it's easy to be swept up in motherhood and not being able to like distinguish between their actual identity and motherhood. And if you're the type of person that went straight to motherhood and didn't figure out who the hell you were, it does get hard to understand like who you are.
I unfortunately will break the news to all of you that, honestly, this is me being nice, 8 times out of 10, most of our parents will not admit how much they don't really want us or regret having us. Like, they claim they don't regret, or they don't want to change that choice they made. They do. They would do it in a heartbeat. Every time I hear a mother come on here and she's trying to be realistic about parenthood, but not admit or show clearly how much she really hates the decision she made about it, and she starts saying something like, oh, well, if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, I would have waited longer. Like, it's just something that just gives baby. If you want to just say, I wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have had these kids, I low-key regret my decision. And I get, like, why they can't say that. That's not societally acceptable. And also, if your kids see you on the internet saying, I don't want you, no. I understand why I have to keep it hidden. But since I'm childless and I have nothing to fear, and F them kids, I'll tell you guys, most of our parents don't really fuck with us like that. I like to say the terms, and I always tell my friends this. I love my parents. I don't like them at all. It's the same thing for a lot of people's parents. They love you. You still their baby. If they're a decent, good parent, say, well, I love my parents. I don't give a damn. I love them down. Do I like them? Fuck no. Fuck no. They piss me off. That's why I live on my own. I need to get away from them. Oof, please, you can think about them right now, make me mad. But I can admit that because I'm their kid. A parent can't admit that about how they feel about their child. So I'm going to say it for it.
And I feel like, not to put my mom on blast, but this is the closest person I could see this transition happen. So she went from moving out of a toxic situation to getting with my father. Then they got pregnant with me really, really fast, and then they had me, and so there wasn't a gap between her figuring out her life, because she moved out at 19, I believe, and then had me at 20. Like, she got pregnant with me at 19, had me at 20, and then my dad was a year older, and she didn't get to have time to figure out who she was, because she got immediately put into housewife, mom life, and that's pretty hard for someone that young, you know. Because when I was 19 years old, I was very we're two different people, honestly. I was very male centered. I was very much like, I don't know, I just wasn't happy, you know, and I was very immature, so I can't see myself like having a kid at 19, you know. But obviously it matures you really fast. And so now she's 45 and my brother and I are in college and we're doing our own thing, and you know, we don't really need her as much anymore. The only ones that generally need her the most are the animals, because obviously they can't go in the fridge and be like, I'm gonna get this and this, you know. So I guess it scares her knowing like, who am I? Because I was a stay-at-home mom for a really long time. I was a wife for a long time. Now she's like, okay, what do I do now? This is a time where she's actually trying to figure out, what does she want to do? And the crazy part is, I've talked about it to people around her age at my school. Like, I would be in like math class with them and they'll be like, yeah, like they'll be like the older ones in my class, and I'm not gonna lie, like the 20-year-olds, like even though I'm in my 20s, like they're just hard to vibe with in college. So I would mostly vibe with like the older people, like in the 40s and up, because I feel were more open, and obviously they have more life experiences, and they were just really nice to me. So I was like, you know what, like I loved hanging out with them. One lady that I used to see a lot, and she'll be like, yeah, no one's gonna want to hire a stay-at-home mom. Like, I'm in my 40s, my kids are grown, like I'm trying to figure out me, you know. And it sucks. Like, I would hear that a lot, because I'm like, I don't know what that feels like. Did all this for yourself, and then the ageism in the workforce is crazy. I don't want someone that's in their 40s the majority of the time, and it gets harder and harder and harder to find a job at that age. So I understand like what she's doing now, because it gets rough out there, like it really does. So I think it's really good to know who you are and try to figure out if you really genuinely want to even be a mom, because I feel like some people think that they have to be a mom, you know. I used to be really obsessed with motherhood, because I think because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and growing up I didn't really have a lot of friends that had stay-at-home moms. A lot of them worked. Yeah, a lot of them worked from what I remember, and so I was one of the few kids that had a stay-at-home mom. I think the other one was this other kid that I used to have like the biggest crush on him. His mom and our mom were always the ones that were like available for like field trips. I think she was a stay-at-home mom from what I remember, but it's like it was just crazy. Like, I don't know, it just was a taboo thing back then for some reason. Like, my mom used to get really shitted on when I was a kid about her being a stay-at-home mom. And then when I decided to be homeschooled for 2 years of my life, it wasn't even my whole life, very short period of my life, so I don't have the experiences of being in middle school because I was homeschooled, that was also taboo. So everyone in the family was talking about that too. They're just like, oh my god, why is she doing that? Oh my god, like you know, because I always had the worst anxiety, and a lot of the kids I grew up with went to this specific high school. I think even my cousin went to this high school too. And I went to the orientation, and I just kept getting this weird vibe, and I think that weird vibe was change. I was uncomfortable with change, and I didn't know how to vocalize that. So I was like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to a public school or whatever. So we had this discussion, and we decided to do homeschooling for 2 years. And then I went to a charter school in high school for all 4 years, and it was hell. Understand why? Because wouldn't you want to be not everyone wants to be a stay-at-home, but wouldn't you want to spend as much time as you can with your kid? Because 1 minute they're a toddler, or the second minute they're like already going to high school, you know. Time does genuinely fly, you know. So it was a little bit weird growing up hearing all the comments like, oh, it's so weird that she's just like, you know, because I kind of treated her like she was like using my dad. for his military benefits. But the thing is, like, they wasn't even like that at all. It's not like they will care now because they already have this preconceived notion that that's what she did. I'm not going to be screaming to the rooftops on that because they were married, and you do have to like intermingle things a lot of the time. So I don't know. So it was just weird personally. But what else happened? I just think, like, I do wonder, like, what my mom would be like if she actually took the time to heal and didn't, like, dive straight into being a wife and a mom, because I couldn't see myself getting so swept up into, kind of have to sacrifice a lot, too, in the midst of that, being a mom. And a lot of people are just not ready for that, or they did it and they're just tired of doing it. So it's like, I get where they're coming from. Another one is to add that they feel regrets due to burnout or deep mental health struggles, and a lot of moms show like a lot of exhaustion, probably because they don't have a lot of support, which that is a big deal. Especially like something that always bothered me, probably because I grew up seeing it, but whenever I would see like an actually present father and they're not helping and they're just watching the wife struggle or the mom struggle, it's like, or the boyfriend or whatever, I see that on TV, I've seen it in real life, it grinds my gears, because why are you here? We're gonna go on to Reddit and read some forums and hope that not that horrible. But girl, I don't know. This one says, just turned 24 with a newborn. I just turned 24 a month ago. I also have a 2-month-old. I have made the worst mistake of my life. I am married because in my culture, if you want a relationship, you gotta get married. And marriage equals kids. And when you get married, everyone's asking you, when are you having kids? So it was only the right thing to do. I have wasted my youth. I have given up my nights of freedom, my autonomy, my relaxation, my everything. My husband and I stay with my parents for the time being. It sucks to see everyone around me continuing to live their lives. My siblings, my parents, even my husband has more of a normal life than I do. I go on social media, and most of the girls my age aren't married and baby trapped, and just are out there living their lives and having fun. I'm so envious of them. I had a gut feeling I didn't want a kid, but I had one anyway because I love my husband. He helps me when he's off. My parents do too. They take him for 4 to 5 hours during the day so I can sleep. Oh wow, that's really cool. But nobody does night shifts, lol. So I deal with that every day. It doesn't matter that I have support. I knew I didn't want to have any responsibility because I am too selfish, way too selfish for that. Every conversation in my home is about the baby, never about me. How is the baby? How did the baby sleep? Everyone wants to give him attention, but nobody cares about my mental state. Oh, that's a very, very good thing to bring up. A lot of parents bring this up, mostly moms, because they kind of forget that they exist too. And I feel like it's like kind of like a spit in my face or their face. If that happened to me, like, I would be upset because I was here first before the baby. Like, why don't you care about me? And I feel like it's a very sensitive time because your hormones are all over the place, and obviously you want to be checked up on. Like, it's nice to hear, are you okay? And it's good to have a healthy venting outlet. So I understand where she's coming from, honestly. So I'm sleep deprived. My 2-month-old does not sleep well at night at all. Maybe he's colicky. Past 3 days, couldn't get him to sleep until 6 a.m. 6 a.m.? That's crazy. And most of the time I'd feed him, he'd wake up, I try to put him back to sleep, and he wants to stay up for 2 hours and sometimes more. Oh girl, no. By the time sleep has left my system, even though I'm tired, I ended up being insomniac. I can never sleep peacefully anymore. I miss the old me. Anyone trying to tell you motherhood is magical and wonderful, they are lying to your face. There's nothing magical or wonderful about not sleeping, not having autonomy, or leaving the house when you want to, or bed rotting when you want to, or doing anything without ticking alarm going off every 2 hours. Yes, I'm happy I created a human myself. I love my baby so much. I love to see him smile and giggle, but I'm not happy with the shell of a person I am now. I used to be so selfish. I used to love dressing up and leaving the house, grabbing Starbucks, driving around town, doing random things, and fulfilling my soul and mind. I then come home and sleep for 8 to 10 hours every day. I hate my new life. I don't believe it will get much better. After infant stage, then you have a toddler stage, and every stage seems like it's its own nightmare. And this is all in full caps. Please don't have kids. Don't get married, and don't get trapped into this. Just because you want to hear the words, I love you, don't be dumb. I mean, I do like how vulnerable she was in this, because honestly, I don't really see this enough. I don't. Because even though people are showing like the more authentic side, it's not like they're showing the full 24 hours of what it's like to have a newborn, you know. I heard the newborn stage is really rough. I really do hope it gets better, but I just feel like it just sounds like she's so depleted, and it just feels like she probably doesn't even go out anymore. She probably doesn't even get fresh air, because honestly that helps too. I don't know what this is like, but it sounds really sad, and I feel bad for her, because obviously she loves the fuck out of her kid, right? But I think she's mourning her old self, because when you do have a kid, you do have to think well, I have to bring this, that, and third, and then it just sounds more like a chore than, oh, this is gonna be a fun day out, you know, because you don't want to forget anything, and it just becomes very chaotic. And sometimes they get grumpy. Sometimes if it's past their nap time, they'll get grumpy. Then they'll get grumpy because they're hungry. It just sounds like literal hell. The people under this thread, though, they seem very supportive and nice, though. So that part I do appreciate, because if she were to post this on TikTok, bro, people would be so effing mean to her, because they'll just think that what I can already see is that I can already foresee the comments, and the comments is going to be like, well, you chose this. Oh, this was optional. Why didn't you terminate the pregnancy? You had ample time to some people don't have the resources to do that, and some people just strictly don't want to do that. It's hard to think that, but a lot of states don't even allow that. So it's why would you wish for them to go to the clinic, get rid of the baby, if you don't even know if they want that, you know? It's just so disgusting, honestly, to come online, and whenever people find out they're pregnant, the first thing they do is just show it to the internet, you know? And people are already in the comments trying to tell them what to do. It's weird. Let's not do that, okay? Here's another one that was from 6 days ago. Okay. Being a parent is unbearable. Hi everyone, I have come across these posts many times and can always relate to them. I have 2 kids, 5 and 7, and they have been extremely challenging since toddlers, and it's never gotten any easier. They have tantrums, they don't listen to me, they have no respect for me whatsoever. Everyone praises me for how much patience I have with my kids. They are challenging. They have hit me before. I am a good parent to them both, and I get them all they need, and want to spend quality I guess you spend quality time with them. Since having my children, I am completely lost myself and become depressed. I hate the winging, I hate the tantrums, I hate the fact that they don't respect me, I hate the fact that I have given up most of my young adult life having them and raising them, and they honestly suck the soul from my body. Damn. Okay, and often bring me to tears. I love my kids, but I regret them so much. I just can't stand it. Every day is so stressful, and I would give anything to have a day of me before I had them. Some days are so difficult, I feel like I'm living in my own personal hell. I love them, but I would give anything to just not have them. Wow. First of all, that is a lot to uncover. That is a lot to uncover here. It doesn't sound like she has a lot of support. It sounds like she's just doing it herself. I have not heard her mention a mom that helps out, or a husband, a boyfriend. It sounds like she's doing it by herself, which I can see why she feels the way that she does. But that was kind of hard, because honestly I'm shocked, because it gets more and more like raw, and I'm like, damn, like this is really how people feel about their kids. Like, it is. I wasn't expecting this, honestly. I mean, it's not shocking, because I could kind of feel it sometimes, you know. Everybody's meant to be a parent, and sometimes, like, I think also people try to sell the dream of, oh my god, get married, have kids, and they try to make it sound like it's glitz and glamour. And then if you actually like show the trenches of your life and you're like, this is me struggling, like they act like it's such a burden. And I don't get that, because this is pretty honest, you know. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm just really glad that people are becoming more honest. But it's also like, if you do make a TikTok account, like TikTok video, like please be aware that your kid might grow up and see this. So I understand why there are people doing it on here, because you can be anonymous. But if you do choose to make a video about this, please be wary of that, because the internet is forever, and people are constantly reposting old videos from even 10 years ago. So please be wary of that. From 2 days ago, emphasis on regret. This is going to be interesting. I've never wanted kids. I made that known to my spouse before we got married. I knew he wanted kids, and I know his parents wanted to have grandchildren, so I got pregnant just to get it done and over with. Okay, well, there's already a problem here. Okay, here's the problem. Why get with someone that wants kids? You know, so I was just recently watching Love is Blind, and it recently just ended, like probably a couple weeks ago. So there was a couple named Emma and that other guy that she was coupled up with. She did not want to have kids. She was very hesitant about it, because she had like a condition where she had like a very long birthmark on her arm. So she had to get surgery to fix it up, to remove it. And so her arm is like, there's scar tissue is what I'm trying to say. And she was always very hesitant about it, because she was worried that, what if my kid gets it? What if they get bullied for it? You know, there's just a lot of things, a lot of factors. He was like, you know, we can do genetic testing. Girl, who has the money for that? Who has the money for genetic testing? I don't think that's covered by insurance, but if you got the money, by all means. But she was always hesitant about it, okay? She's been mentioning it since the beginning of time. I got to the altar. He was basically like, you seem very unsure about having a kid, and I want to have a kid. I really want to have kids. And basically, they broke up because of that situation. Even though she stated that she wasn't sure, but I think he was trying to like hope and have hope out that she was gonna really be sure. Like, not a maybe, not a no, but yes, I want to have kids. But I think she probably, like, if he were to say yes to her, I think she would have like been in this situation and had the kid only for him. Because if you look at her life, her sisters, you know, have a partner, they have kids, and obviously she probably thinks that there's something wrong with her because she doesn't have anyone. And I'd rather not have anyone than to settle, because settling is like the worst thing. And I feel like it's better to be with someone that doesn't want to have kids either, so you don't have these tough situations where you're like, oh, like, I really want you to have kids with me, because this could have been handled before y'all got married. And I'm not trying to be rude, but this is insane, because you're bringing a child into your life knowing that you don't really want it, and they could probably feel that you don't want them. So anyways, she basically did it for everyone else but not for herself, which is not good. And I feel like a lot of women probably do this, probably without even realizing it, because they install it like we're supposed to be like breeding machines basically. But not everyone wants to have kids, and that is okay. It's okay to be sure about having kids. It's okay to not be sure, because you just don't know what it's gonna be like, you know. And there's so many factors to come into this, and I think that's why there's so much war on this, because people are just like, well, you're dumb for having a kid. I just feel like there's a nicer way of saying it, and it just sucks. But anyways, I regret it every day. I went through postpartum depression really bad. Everyone on his side of the family hated me. I got thrown on psych meds. Okay, I had a brief moment where I was excited to be his mom, but within the past couple of weeks, he's almost 2. I want nothing to do with him. I still take care of him. It's just emotionally there's nothing there. He doesn't really misbehave, but just looking at him pisses me off. Oh, that makes me sad. This is what I was just mentioning. I didn't even skim through this before I even mentioned all that, but this is kind of what I was worried about. You probably think that, oh, he's a toddler, he's not gonna know. But kids are very in tune with things. They pick up on vibes, and I wonder if she's giving off a vibe like, ew, I don't like you like that. I don't want to have any parts of you. Like, is she mean to him because of that, you know? Like, oh Lord, this is a lot. Makes things worse because I'm a stay-at-home mom and my hubby is in the military. He's gone a lot. Okay, my mom was a military wife. This was probably like the only thing I can relate to, because I grew up as a military family. I don't mention this a lot because it's not like it's my personality trait or anything. But my mom was also a stay-at-home wife. Yeah, stay-at-home mom. And my dad wasn't deployed a lot. He wasn't until, like, he was deployed when I was like very little, but it wasn't when I got older, because he started working at the clinic and stuff, and he had gotten out of the military when I was like 7 years old. And so I think what helped my mom when it came to that was having a lot of structure and a lot of scheduling around throughout the day between everyone, because she always told me, between her and her friend that we used to live by, she was also a military wife, and she had like 3 boys that I grew up with, and they were very big on scheduling, and I think that helps a lot. I want to talk to my husband about it, but I don't want to straight up tell him I don't love our son. I saw a post somewhere on here about loving their pets more than their kid, and I agree. Oh, I need a shot. I need a shot. We have 2 doggos. I hate that she says hubby and doggos. Come on now, we don't say that. And I love them more than anything. Oh wait, I love them more than I love my son. I feel bad for saying that, but it's true. I don't have anyone to talk about this besides my friends, but we're super close. And she doesn't have kids. My husband asked me, what would you do without him? In my head, I would say everything. I also feel bad for saying this, because there are people out there who struggle to have kids. I mean, that's true. So there was a person that commented under this that said, not a parent. That's tough. It would probably help to stick to one child and be the one and done. Oh yeah, true. You don't have to birth the sibling for your son. He'll probably get to play with and make friends with kids at daycare or school. Don't let your husband or in-laws pressure you. There's not even a guarantee they would even like each other or be close siblings if you had another child. Don't compound your misery, and hopefully it gets a bit easier as your son grows and gets more independent. This too shall pass eventually. Now that he's 2, can you send him to daycare? I honestly think daycare is a better parent than me. Every day my kid does all kinds of activities at daycare. No way in hell I can teach him as much at home. We can't afford to, and my husband has heard a bunch of horror stories. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's another thing. So when my brother and I were very little, we did go to daycare. We even gone on daycare on base. I do remember for some reason I was like maybe 4 years old, and I remember like my mom also worked on base around doctors and shit. So I remember very vividly, just there was a ramp, right? I think I liked that daycare more than the other one that we went to. And I do have like a horror story for daycare. I don't want to scare y'all, but it's the truth, okay? Babysat by a few people. Because I remember also there was a time where I was babysat by my mom's old friend's sister or grandma or something. And I used to like talk to her in Spanish. And I would call her like my abuela a lot, because everyone else was talking to me in Spanish, so I was like kind of doing it too. And so, but I also do remember like my mom telling me one time, I don't think this is her, but there was like another person that babysat my brother and I. He was not even a year old, I believe, but she went to work. My mom would call me, and I was a toddler at this time, and I obviously could talk, so she would call me sometimes to check up on me. And there was a time where my brother was screaming and crying, and just very upset. And on the phone, I told her like, oh, they won't let me get to my brother. He was at the ball pit, face down, face down, face down in the ball pit. And my mom could hear that he was screaming and crying. So she like immediately goes there. And by the time she gets him, he's like hyperventilating because he was screaming and crying for so long. And he could not catch his breath because he was face down in the ball pit for a very long time. I don't know why he was in there. They put him in there for some reason. So I think that's what prompted my mom to be a stay-at-home mom. I think that was the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, because I do remember hearing this as a kid about how my mom became a stay-at-home mom, because that's really what started it. She used to work at Target, Ace Parking, and on base when I was little, and also when she was pregnant with me. And she reported the lady. They got their license taken away, and they aren't allowed to watch any more kids. I don't know if they are now, but hopefully they don't do it again. But it is kind of scary because he could have suffocated and died that way. There's another one. It says, being a mother sucks. This was posted 5 days ago. I find that when you're a mom, you're particularly impacted by being a parent, but there's a lot of negatives. Discomfort of pregnancy, pain of childbirth, negative career impacts, irreversible changes to appearance, stretch marks, loose skin, saggy boobs, C-section scars, aging from stress and lack of sleep, hair loss, and etc., etc. Expected to be the primary caregiver, having to give up hobbies and social life because you are the one always expected to stay at home and look after the kids. Loss of identity. So it's blatantly obvious that having kids as a woman, she used the wrong one. She used woman as in like multiple, but we're gonna let it pass, is a bad deal. Men carry on with their lives. They can spend 6 hours playing golf with their buddies. Their career isn't impacted. Their bodies aren't changed. That's a very good thing to bring up, because I don't understand why like there's so much like there's like a double standard when it comes to like parenting. If a man watches his kid, he's considered like the savior, the hero. Oh my god, he's so fun. Oh my god, that's so cool. If a woman does it, the comments are like, well, you're supposed to do that. Where else is he gonna go? Hello? They're both supposed to be taking care of the kid. If you chose to keep the kid, it is y'all's responsibility to take care of them. It's not fair to put it all on one parent, because in what way is that fair? That's how divorce starts. That's how resentment starts. That's how a lot of things starts, you know? This one says, I regret having a child. I'm praying it gets better. Okay, this one's very long. Maybe this one should be our last one. Okay, I used to be child-free due to the current state of the world and my want for financial security. However, I had a baby anyway. Okay. I did because I always saw myself having at least one child, and there will never be a good/better time to have children. That is true. I hate that people on TikTok, when they're like, you chose to have a baby now? You have a baby now? Have you seen the current state of the world? Girl, when has the economy been good? I know y'all love to say it with Obama, but the economy wasn't good when he was here too. I could say anything to anyone who's thinking about having kids. I'm going to tell you what a mom told me, and I wish I would have listened. If you have anxiety, don't have a baby. It does get 10 times worse. Even if you think you're over it, it can manage it better. Don't. I cried day 3 of having my baby because the realization hit me that I brought an innocent soul, a precious soul, into this ugly, scary world. Yes, I know I can't protect him from everything, but now that he's here, I feel sick to my stomach to have brought him into this ugly planet. It's a horrific feeling. Postpartum anxiety is the worst anxiety I've ever felt. I feel so guilty, and I hate myself for it, and I regret it. I love him to bits, but I feel like I'm in a bad dream. I just want to wake up and this not have been real. Looking at him, he's so precious and innocent and pure. This world doesn't deserve him. I feel like I don't deserve him. I look at him, he's so perfect, and then I look around and my heart breaks. I feel this way about my cats too. I feel this way about all my babies to extent. But they were already born already, and now I have my own baby that I brought into willingly, and I feel so guilty. I feel like I'm not enough for him, and I know that no parent is perfect, and we all are bound to make mistakes, but it's not that I'm afraid of. I feel like I might mess up in the worst way possible somehow. Maybe that's something most parents feel anyway. I'm getting therapy for this. I hope this feeling goes away. He's a good baby. He's easy, he sleeps, and he eats well on cue. But even when he's sleeping, I have to stay awake to make sure he's breathing and asleep, because I can't handle myself if something happens to him. Something that makes me feel better is the fact that everyone else around me isn't panicking like I am. It's just me, which makes me feel better. Okay. I'd rather feel crazy in a room of sane people than to feel crazy in a room of people who also have no idea what to do. That's an interesting way of putting it. I'm not gonna lie. It is a scary world out there. Like, I feel like it's getting worse. Seeing kids harming other kids, which is terrifying to think that they're doing these very violent crimes. And I'm like, how the frick do they know how to do this? It's terrifying. I hope that she doesn't always carry that burden, because the world is not going to get better. Just because you brought a baby in the world does not mean it's going to automatically get better. Not that she said that, but there's always that hope. Like, is the world going to ever get better? Is it always going to be scary like this, or what? And I don't think it ever will be. And that's the scary part. God, that was a lot. But I'm gonna end it here. I've been talking for a very long time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I also want to start posting videos for members only, because I have videos that didn't make the cut because I waited too long while it wasn't trending anymore. So I was like, you know what, maybe I should like make it into a video, because it takes me a long time to make notes. Sometimes it takes me days to make notes, and I don't want it to go to waste, if that makes sense. And I would like it to be shared, because I would even make time to make the thumbnail and all that stuff. So I'm like, I don't want it to go to waste. But there's been so many times where I just kind of throw away ideas because of that, you know. It's been my thought for a little while. I think that might be interesting if you're interested in being a member. I almost choked. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos. They're in a playlist available for you to watch anytime you would like. It helps me out a lot if you watch them. And I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye guys.